You are listening to 98.3 Big FM. Welcome, dear friends, to this special hour here on Big FM, where every day at this hour, we bring to you a special program on mental health, mental awareness, and also suicide prevention. Now, as you know, the 10th of September is celebrated every year as World Suicide Prevention Day. And this year, Big FM has teamed up with Martin Luther Christian University to bring to you this special program that will be coming to you every day at this hour till the 10th of September. And today we have with us Miss Adelina Berthashila, who is the University Counsellor at Martin Luther Christian University, to tell us about World Suicide Prevention Day, to talk about the counselor's role in suicide prevention and mental health, and to understand suicidal behavior. Let's begin.
Ma'am, can you tell us about World Suicide Prevention Day? Tell us about its significance, and also how did World Suicide Day come into existence?
Okay, so basically the World Suicide Prevention Day is observed on September 10 each year. So it's very significant, it's talking about its significance, it's very important, to observe this day, as it helps us to raise awareness about its importance, and as well as to shed light on the seriousness on the problem. So through this day, it also helps us to talk about the stigma that surrounds not just suicide, but also mental health illness as well. And talking about its existence, so basically World Suicide Prevention Day started from the field of a specific organization, that is the International Association of Suicide Prevention. So they came up with this to a specific day to observe Suicide Prevention Day, and ever since its inception, so we annually observe this day. So I think a lot of information can be found from the International Association of Suicide Prevention website itself. There are a lot of workshops and collaborations and events that they update in their website. So this really can really help if someone wants to know more about it.
Can you tell us about the goal and the theme of this year's World Suicide Prevention Day?
Yes, so this year's main theme is creating hope through action. So basically, this theme has been a recurring theme since 2021. And the whole message through this theme is that we can extend help, creating hope through action, shedding light in other people's life. So as we know that a lot of things can be just said, but then this time our main focus is more how can we be of help to someone else around us? Either it's within our family members or with the people around us, through our words or actions, or even now through this interview, learning about the different things about suicide prevention, how to prevent, what are the warning signs. So having the knowledge, we will be able to provide help to other people.
What are some of the common activities and events organized on this day to raise awareness about suicide prevention?
So there are a lot of activities if we look globally as well. We either do workshops, and then or go to community camps providing some kind of awareness. If you see a lot of now, since social media is quite an active platform for everyone, so spreading information through posters, brochures, as well as as different podcasts. So there are different kind of activities. So in a university itself, among students, we do role plays in certain areas of a community, so to impart some knowledge to the community about suicide prevention. So those are a few of the activities that we're doing.
We'll be right back in this chat with Miss Adelina Berthashila, the University Counsellor at Martin Luther Christian University. And remember that this is a special program that we bring to you as part of our observation of World Suicide Prevention Day. Stay tuned to 98.3 Big FM. Be right back. Welcome back to the special hour here on Big FM, where we are talking about mental health, mental wellness, and also suicide prevention. This special program is brought to you by Big FM in association with the Martin Luther Christian University, Shillong. Today, we are in conversation with Miss Adelina Berthashala, who is the University Counsellor at Martin Luther Christian University. And earlier, you had listened to her as she told us a bit about World Suicide Prevention Day and also about the goals, the events, and activities that are organized on this day to raise awareness about suicide prevention. Let's continue in our chat with Miss Adelina Berthashala.
Ma'am, you yourself are a counselor, so can you tell us how can counselors contribute to suicide prevention efforts on a day-to-day basis?
Yes, our role as counselors, not only counselors but mental health professionals, including like the psychiatrists, the clinical psychologists as a whole, like our role is to be able to educate the person about that, their thoughts, their feelings of all these negative things that surround them. Our role is also like to help to alleviate the daily stress of a person. So let's say like a person who's struggling to find help, having to share things to other people, they need full trust and to believe that there's confidentiality, maintained between the two people. So counselor's role steps in. In that way, we play a role where whatever the person has something to talk about, which is quite sensitive to that person. So we maintain that role as counselors. Also, our skills that we have been practicing, to be empathetic towards the person, trying to understand from their perspective, avoiding any biases and non-judgmental thinking. So that is how we as counselors or any mental health professional play a role in this issue.
One of the main issues in tackling or addressing mental health is the stigma that is attached with mental health. So how do counselors approach and address this stigma that surrounds mental health and also suicide?
I think surrounding the stigma, as I've mentioned earlier, there are a lot of myth and the stereotype that we have, and which it prevents people to seek help. That is one thing. As we know that the myth that surrounds mental health is way before. It has been there since like the time that people pay attention towards mental health. So just the word mental itself, it sounds like weak. This person is incapable of handling their problems or situations, or he's not or she is not doing well in life or something like that. But in order to destigmatize the whole thing about mental health, our role is like to psychoeducate people, not only the client or the person who comes to us, but also the people around them. And as again and again we mentioned, awareness is very important, the knowledge about it. I would like to mention some of the myths, like the myths that we usually hear from people is like suicide only affects individuals with a mental health condition. Yeah, that can be true. Any history of depression can be one sign, but that doesn't always apply. And another stigma, that myth, I would say, once an individual is suicidal, he or she will always remain suicidal, and that is also not true. And it's important for us to understand that just because a person have a suicidal thought doesn't mean that they will always be that way. Maybe they just need someone to step in to guide them and to make them aware about the alternatives of help available out there. Most suicide happens suddenly without warning. That is also a myth. Actually, there are a lot of warning signs that we can see out there, verbally or behaviorally. So one could be like someone's keep on mentioning like, I don't feel like living anymore. My life is hopeless. Yes, it could be that it doesn't always apply like that, but then at the same time, those can be one of the signs that we should pay attention to. Maybe just check in on that person, like, oh, how are you doing today? You were mentioning, like you were feeling so stressed and all. So I hope that all these myths we can erase them fully.
Myths and truths about suicide. Well, that was so clearly impressed upon by Miss Adelina Bertha Shilla, the University Counsellor at Martin Luther Christian University. And she's also told us about the role that counsellors can play in suicide prevention efforts. We'll be right back in this conversation with Miss Adelina, so make sure that you keep listening to the special program on 98.3 Big FM. Welcome back to the special hour on Big FM, where we bring to you a special program on mental health, mental wellness, and suicide prevention. This program is brought to you by Big FM in collaboration with Martin Luther Christian University as part of his observation of World Suicide Prevention Day on the 10th of September. Today in the program, we have Miss Adelina Bertha Shilla, who is the University Counsellor of Martin Luther Christian University. And earlier, we had listened to her as she set right some myths about suicide and also highlighted some of the roles that counselors can play in the prevention of suicide. Let's continue our chat with Miss Adelina Bertha Shilla.
What are some of the warning signs that someone might be at risk of suicide?
So one could be, like I mentioned earlier, is having a history of mental disorder, such as depression or substance use disorder. So basically also, like, a person in distress, you can see if a person is withdrawing slowly from like his social activities. So if you've seen a person who's always engaged, who's always like very active, suddenly becoming so quiet and like withdrawn from his daily functioning, and if you see a person's life is being interrupted, like in their workplace, in their family issues, like those small things, that can also be a warning signs. And also extreme mood swings, from extreme sadness to extreme happy, like that could be also a sign. Sleep disturbance could also be one, where a person hasn't been able a continuous sleep disturbance from 2 weeks or more than 2 weeks, then that could be one indicator of a person having difficulty. Not just suicide in itself, because these can all contribute to a person feeling that overwhelming emotions, and as well as their appetite, eating habits, not eating at all, or overeating or undereating. Those can also be few of the signs. So engaging in risky behavior, like risky driving behaviors and drinking at the same time, those. So I guess these are the few of the warning signs that we can pay attention for a person having suicidal ideation.
What are some of the common underlying factors that can contribute to suicidal feelings?
When we hear oh, this person have like a suicidal thoughts, very negative about their life, it doesn't always involve like personal, like their personal personality as a person, but the other factors like financial difficulties, maybe pressure at work, too much pressure, maybe unable to cope with the failures, let's say setbacks from life in terms of academics or career, or maybe a trauma experience in their life that they have been trying to overcome all those years, and they didn't find the right way or the right healthy coping way to deal with it. So it becomes too overwhelmed that thought set in their head, and in order to get away from that suffering, maybe this could be one of that way that they thought it will be an escape, but definitely this is not the way. And other factor could be like relationship problems, not only with family, romantically, all these can contribute to this. So these could be some of the underlying factors to suicidal feelings.
That was Miss Adelina Bertha Shilla, University Counsellor at Martin Luther Christian University, giving us a few hints into understanding suicidal behavior. This is a special program brought to you by Big FM in collaboration with Martin Luther Christian University as part of our observation of World Suicide Prevention Day on the 10th of September. So tune in again tomorrow at the same time as we delve deeper into the aspects of suicide and its prevention. And with that, we've come to the end of this special program. But stay tuned to 98.3 Big FM and we'll be right back.